The starting point was I come back to Paris, rediscover why French fashion is always the trendsetter in the world.
That's why I call it global tribal, because nothing is pure. All the cultures are mixing. So this is really an homage to the multicultural world we're living in.
Well, I was looking at a grown-up girl. I was looking at a girl who knows what she wants, and she loves to be in a fantasy land. She doesn't care a damn about what people say. She wears what she wants.
It's my first love, the tailoring, and I went back to my roots and discovered the tailoring again.
Today we wanted like beautiful girl, of course, but the thing was like the collection is amazing. It's really rich, really opulent. So we wanted to find a proper balance, to have something elegant but not too show off. We worked with a small smoky brownish on the eyes and a touch of gold in the middle. The lips, we find a really nice one from MAC. It's Dance With Me, it's a matte one, and we just tint the skin with it and we put lip balm. The idea which I really wanted, it's like you see the girl, she's beautiful, but you don't know if the makeup is done or not. Voilà.
The concept hair, it's very minimalist. It's an inspiration années 30, you know. It's a ponytail. I play the hair, I twist, you know. And after, just a party, and I twist the hair, you know. It's a clean, minimalist, nice shiny and nice hair.
Let's say the starting point was I come back to Paris, because last season I went to Japan. I brought a lot of inspiration for the spring-summer collection from elsewhere. And then I said maybe this is the time to really go back to Paris, go back home, open a book of French history and rediscover why French fashion is always the trendsetter in the world. So this was the starting point. I started looking really at the history of costume, history of fashion, even before like the age of the couturier that everyone always talks about. I went back to the Napoleonic era, to like Louis XIV, to Marie Antoinette, and I thought why they were always the trendsetter, why everyone else in Europe always imitates them. And I started taking their elements, and I think that today that's still happening in fashion. Everyone still looks at Paris for inspiration, and I thought that was super interesting. So I took this element from the past and I mixed it with the future. I was already knowing at that point that I would have this set for the choreography. So I really worked with the set. I took the colors from the room and I did lace that is in the same color, so it's a bit of a camouflage of metallic. And then the statues that you see here, I took the inspiration for the draping of the coats. So in the end, the presentation, it goes from really pure and really white to the more extravagant pieces at the end, which are really this kind of opulent French sensibility for me. Obviously, in winter, you always feel like you want to buy or wear like a coat. You see, so when I came here, I saw this like draped dresses from the statues, and I thought, oh, I could do some draped dresses, but it would be amazing to actually work the draping in coats. So we started bringing like scarves, you know, and like draping it on the girls and seeing, and then we kept all the fringes, and we really turned, let's say, these scarves into constructions and into garments. And I thought white was really the best way to see the constructions. Obviously, we have a bit of check pattern and a bit of chine to keep this kind of day feeling, but the whites are in the beginning because they're the strongest. This came a bit from like some, let's say, ancient women in painting. You know, I thought, how can I make this modern? You know, all this sort of Napoleonic era. You know, you have this lady with like the big thing and the red hair, and I thought, wow, no one has been looking at this for such a long time because it's not like the most modern thing ever. So I thought, if I completely clean it up and it's white and it's short and it's with like a girl with short hair and earrings, I thought, you know, that brings it the energy of today. Well, you know, I have an atelier of 5 modelists, so, you know, it's like really skillful people that work in French atelier for their whole life. So they're very good at making, you know, these ideas happen. And we work on corsetry, and then we work on these lace pleats, which are really like engineered. And you can really see, you know, all the details like this in a presentation, and you really see their skills. hope to bring this kind of, let's say, twisted French couture sensibility that was the beginning of the house. And then also to, let's say, bring a modernity of like fashion of today, you know, what's going on, and let's say, what did I learn in luxury that we can apply to something that is actually accessible for people. And obviously I want to keep the house like what it is in the sense of the price point. I think this is very important. This is the specialty of the house. So definitely to work on this in the future.
The idea of Andrew was African woman, tribal woman, but still chic and of course Parisian and of course I will say rock and roll. So we had the idea of the braids. We start with the braids in the middle and then we fix 3 braids on each side. Very sleek, very shiny. We go until the end of the hair. We fix with an elastic and then we respray with the oil and then just to make something very shiny and clean. So something just very cool and edgy, but still chic.
It's called Global Tribal. And as you can tell from the styling of the girls, I call them the tribal geisha. So all of them are like this beautiful, amazing braided hair with little geisha makeup. And the clothes, basically, I call them like global tribal because, you know, being brought up, born and bred in Singapore, I mean, I was brought up in a kind of like a multicultural society. So all of us belongs to a tribe generations ago. And today, the tribe, I think there's some very new definitions to that as well. It's a certain way we dress and the way we eat and kind of rituals of a daily life that makes us different from one another. But then nothing is pure today. I mean, despite that we're yearning for our roots, but you know, that's why I call it global tribal, because nothing is pure. All the cultures are mixing. So this is really an homage to the multicultural world we're living in. Now it could be like the whole planet is one tribe. So we're like a global tribal. We have did a lot of research on different various things. I mean, we started with looking even like at the aesthetic movement painters like Klimt. We're looking at illustrations of Aubrey Beardsley, the Rossetti, Ben Jones, and then we're looking at some primitive art. We're looking also at some ancient tribal culture from Egypt. We've realized that once you break things up, they're all symbols and they're very modern and they're also very now. They have lots of similarities in between. That's why it was a really fun research work for us. Like we were looking at one of the Klimt paintings and that Klimt, it turns out to be, oh my God, when you simplify, bring it down, make it contemporary, it actually looks like a Maori, you know, some Aborigine kind of paintings or a Maori culture. You know, so there was a lot of that going on my clothing this season, but obviously I luxe it up. My girl says she loves her luxury. There are actually silk thread embroideries and jerseys, and this one is actually inspired by the Egyptian minority minor culture we're talking about from like a couple of 100 years ago, and we actually like simplify it And it actually looks like, someone was telling me that, oh my God, it looks very Scandinavian. I said, there you go. Like Scandinavia and Egypt is so far, two different culture, but then, you know, they're sort of crossing each other at the time already. So it's about symbols and icons and different culture. A homage to our planet, big planet we're living in. And I think we're living in really tormented times, so I guess with this yearning of going back to roots and what's our roots, it was like searching for our roots, but it's all mixed up, and you know, so yeah, it's a homage to that. Live strong and live beautifully.
There's a lot of strong graphic prints. It kind of reminded me of the early 70s, so I wanted to channel Verushka or Marissa Berenson in like an early Vogue from maybe 1972. You know, so I wanted it to be African, and then it turned out being quite Indian or Elizabethan, because that's the thing with Manish. It's like really just about imagination and not being literal to a theme, but just really taking it as a point of departure. And it just was really fun. It just kind of evolved at the test. Well, we did a very light foundation, and we just curled the lashes. We didn't use any eye makeup or any mascara. And then on the lips, we used a lip gloss. Like, mix this kind of glittery eye gloss in with it. So it just would really sparkle and sort of add to the sparkle and still look very pure and clean, and you still see the actual natural lips.
Well, I was looking at a grown-up girl. I was looking at a girl who is more confident, who knows what she wants, and she loves to be in a fantasy land. And she doesn't care a damn about what people say. She wears what she wants. That was a very conscious decision to make the girl grown up, to make luxury, to make real fabrics, silks, embellishments, all of that. It's all handwork. I'm from India, so there's a lot of hand embroidery. Yes. It was cosmic love, the print. That's why you could see hearts with all the galaxy. Yeah, cosmic love. I have one message: be yourself, and wear what you think looks good on you, and don't bother what people say.
I found this really beautiful old picture of a little schoolboy in a uniform with white stockings, and I thought, oh, that's so nice, and I returned. It's my first love, the tailoring, and I went back to my roots and discovered the tailoring again. And I liked it to twist it with a lot of exaggerated colors, with special sleeves that were very historical, inspired on Victorian opera. Then there was the whole story of working gear, but in a tailored way. And then I like the twist of the more tongue-in-cheek cabaret, trompe-l'œil bodies and the little dancing shoes. And I liked the balance that it made. I didn't want to make an androgyn collection. I really wanted to have a feminine collection, and but still also the love for the métier to do the tailoring, and also to have constructed pieces as a woman. I really like that. was looking a lot at like this vintage ice figure skating things, and also a little bit the cabaret with the stars, and yeah, I like the idea in combination with like traditional things like load and camel coats. It's a very intuitive process, and I always start also with the love of the fabric, you know, to start from there. And yeah, I think it's an intellectual woman who can appreciate the history of things also, and because some fabrics have been made for centuries in the same way, and yeah. I really enjoyed working in this collection because, yeah.